9 races left of his illustrious and distinguished career that's brought 9 World Championships, 115 wins, but joy to the hearts of millions of MotoGP fans. And a celebratory day in many respects of Pol Espargaro. Things not going his way on track, but it's his 250th Grand Prix start here today in Styria.
Pol Espargaro would have been hoping, of course, at the start of the year we'd be coming to Austria with him having a great chance of winning. He loves this circuit. He did so well, of course, in the colours of KTM. Valentino Rossi fans there hoping for a dream ride from Valentino. He's only had 1 top 10 finish so far this season, and all things considered, I think he'd take that if he could get it here today. There are 5 minutes roughly to go until we're ready to race. The warm-up lap will be in under that. Fabio Quartararo third on the grid for him. Another front row start for the World Championship leader. He'll be keeping his eyes on the sky right now, but it's dry to begin with. The question is, is he going to get blasted away by the Ducatis?
That is the key factor, isn't it? They'll climb up the hill to first corner. Quartararo has got to nail the start and then try and break away, because if he gets swamped by the Ducatis, they're going to be so hard to overtake. He knows that, everybody knows that. The Ducati's so strong previously here in the Red Bull Ring, although previous circuits where they were hotly tipped for glory, Qatar and Mugello and Barcelona, well, it didn't really go their way, did it? Johann Zarco, what lies in store for one of the 2 flying Frenchmen in this 2021 MotoGP World Championship? Can he make any inroads into that 34-point deficit he has to compatriot Quartararo?
5 minutes to the race start. The grid will make its way off now. The riders prepare. We're getting closer and closer to action here. A 28-lap race. We've seen so many brilliant battles in the past here. Matt, of course, the fantastic rivalry between Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso. Last year's Grand Prix of Styria was an absolute thriller at the last corner. What is in store today?
Yeah, 3 times in 6 MotoGP races here in Austria. It's all gone right down to the wire. Let's hope it's the same over the next 28 laps and 45 minutes or so as the grid starts to clear. The tension ramps up, the pressure builds. Jorge Martin on pole for the 2nd time in just his 6th MotoGP start. Can he take what would be a sensational first victory in MotoGP?
A tribute there to the late great Fausto Grassini, of course, who he won his Moto3 championship with back in 2018. The 23-year-old from Madrid has taken to MotoGP like a duck to water, and despite that huge crash in Portugal, and despite the fact he's not 100% fit, he just seems so calm and relaxed in MotoGP at the moment. Here's your front row then. Fabio Quartararo, your World Championship leader on the Monster Energy Yamaha, looking to defend a 34-point lead, fighting the world champion Joan Mir and the Ducati boys. 2 of them ahead of him on the grid as well. Pecco Bagnaia, number 63, is his hunt for a win going to come to an end here. He has indeed gone for the soft rear tyre, Pecco Bagnaia, and on pole position here then, Jorge Martin, number 89, on the Pramac Ducati. Let's go racing here in Styria.
We're all set for a Spielberg blockbuster in MotoGP. It's round 10 of the 2021 MotoGP World Championship. On pole position for the 2nd time in his rookie season, Pramac Ducati's Jorge Martin on the front row with fellow Ducati rider Pecco Bagnaia and World Championship leader Fabio Quartararo. Mir, the world champion, and Johann Zarco go from row 2. Keep an eye on Marc Marquez. He goes from the middle of the 3rd row in 8th place. Brother Alex Marquez 3 places further back in 11th. The returning Dani Pedrosa, what can he do from the 5th row of the grid? A top 10 would be a fantastic result on his first ever appearance in Grand Prix racing, not riding a Honda machine. Valentino Rossi starts 17th, with Cal Crutchlow also back in MotoGP action on the 8th row of the grid, replacing the injured Franco Morbidelli at Petronas Yamaha SRT.
Joan Mir, 3 podiums to his name at the start of 2021, and the job was to try and stay in contention of the World Championship leader Fabio Quartararo. Now he's got that squatting device. He's armed with the parts that he needs. Can he fight for victory once more? This is how the championship looks heading into the 10th round and kick-starting the second half of the World Championship. The man they're all chasing, Fabio Quartararo. He cannot be caught here today, but the gap could come down. That is your chase for the title as we head into round 10 in the second half of this season.
Can El Diablo deny Ducati here in their favourite backyard in the Styrian Mountains? How long will it stay dry? Are we going to have a full 28 dry lap race, or are we going to get an intervention from the rain? Will it be flag to flag? Valentino Rossi, of course, the big pre-weekend news, calling time on his fantastic 26th season Grand Prix career. And there's a sentiment which we'd all love to hear. I am a rider for life. Whatever is the next chapter and adventure for the 42-year-old, we all wish him the very best of luck.
26,210 fans here. Great to welcome them back, and let's see more of that as we move forward, as we try and get to some sort of normality. Thank you to everyone that's braved the weather that's been here today, and thank you all for watching. This could be really interesting. Here's your most recent winner, Miguel Oliveira.
Yeah, it feels strange, doesn't it, to be lining up in Austria without picking out Andrea Dovizioso as a real serious race-winning contender. Dovi, of course, now in a sabbatical season. Will he be on the grid next year? That's looking unlikely. Test rider for Aprilia, but Pecco Bagnaia then, the only man on that front row that's gone with that soft rear tyre.
Everyone activating their devices, ready for launch, ready for liftoff. MotoGP has been off for 5 weeks for a summer break, but we are back now, and we are alive and kicking. The green flag waves, 28 laps here in the Red Bull Ring coming up. Lights out and away we go. A good start from Pecco Bagnaia. A bit twitchy initially from Martin. Here comes Joan Mir from the second row as well. He goes up into third. Bagnaia leads.
Yeah, not the start that Fabio Quartararo was looking for. I think that was Aleix Espargaro mid-pack who had a big moment coming out of turn one on the gas. He was out of the seat, and that cost a couple of other riders time. Martin, though, it is from pole that leads. Bagnaia second. Mir got a great start in third.
Quartararo there, and Marquez side by side wide from Martin as well. Oh, it's a bit messy through turn 3. Good start from Maverick Vinales there as well. Look, we're on board with Quartararo. Vinales has made up a bunch of places to get in the top 6.
Yeah, best start of the season for Maverick Vinales. A start he had to make. 9th to 6th place, missing out with Joan Zarco. He's going the wrong way. He's struggling to keep himself inside the top 10. It's a big moment for Aleix Espargaro, which threatened to split up the pack out of turn 1.
Alex Rins made a great start as well. He's just up behind Joan Zarco. He's into 8th. Miller did not get away well. He's down to 9th ahead of Taka Nakagami.
Oh, Marquez, aggressive, super aggressive up the inside at turn 7 on Fabio Quartararo. Repsol Honda coming through, merciless from Marquez. He now starts to charge towards the Ducatis ahead of him.
Here comes Joan Mir as well, and Maverick Vinales also going through on Fabio Quartararo, but Quartararo biting back again on his teammate there.
Yeah, that was tight between Vinales and Quartararo through turns 9 and 10. Frenetic and frantic action already here in Austria. Pecco Bagnaia, though, it is that will lead the way. Joan Mir's got himself up into second place. Brilliant first lap from the Suzuki man. He's already recovered 3 spots.
Up the hill we go then. Pecco Bagnaia it is that leads. Look at the speed now of Jorge Martin as he'll try and bite back and get second place back. He does on Joan Mir. Can Mir get him again, though, on the brakes? No, he cannot. Fabio Quartararo again having to try and dispose of his teammate Maverick Vinales. Hard to know where to look here. Who was that going wide?
Was it Nakagami?
Yes.
Somebody was really wide. It looked like the LCR Honda man who started in 10th place. Now then, Vinales and Quartararo, blue on blue here, having a real good tussle. Oh, Mir's
is really wide.
Really hot into turn 4. He's going to lose a place to Jorge Martin and to Marc Marquez as well. Rare mistake from the world champ.
He's coming straight back again, though. Look at that contact! Oh, wow! Into turn 6! You don't do that! Marquez then gets punted back a few places. Quartararo picks them off while they're napping as well.
Yeah, I don't know whether Quartararo picked up Mir and then Mir just had nowhere to go and nudged Marquez. We'd like to see a replay of that one, but as we said, this is more Moto3 than MotoGP. Stunning action here in Styria already.
It does show you, though, the ruthlessness of Joan Mir. It really does. He does not care one jot who it is.
No, he packs a punch. If you passed him, you'd better make it stick, because you know it's coming straight back at you.
On to the start, finish straight. a great start to this Grand Prix already then. It's Bagnaia who leads from Martin, with Quartararo now up into third again, Mir in fourth, then Vinales and Marc Marquez in sixth.
There's not been the start that Miguel Oliveira was looking for with that damaged right hand. He's outside the points at the moment, the Portuguese man down in 16th place.
Dani Pedrosa's made a good start. Number 26 is in 12th place at the moment. He is the leading KTM.
Ooh, Miller getting it sideways, squirming around that Ducati going on the brakes into turn 3. Jack Miller in 9th place. Oh, yellow flags in the background then. Who's gone down?
Dani Pedrosa, just as we said it, I think Dani Pedrosa's race has come to an end already. Something's happened to number 26 over at turn 3.
Now the Jack Miller did finally get through on the laser spark.
Goodness me.
This will be a red flag.
This has got to be. Is someone else down there? Is that Savadori as
yeah,
well?
This
What's
has to
happened
be,
here?
This is a red flag.
This has got to be
no
a
question.
red flag.
Red flag's coming.
Something has happened here over. Yeah, red flag out. Race stopped.
Turn 3 yet again. Turn 3 yet again. Something's going on here between Aleix Espargaro
I think
and
Aleix
Marc
Espargaro
as
is
well.
saying that the same thing has happened. I'm wondering if Savadori has crashed, because Savadori's bike is there, and Dani Pedrosa as well.
There is Dani
Pedrosa's
yeah.
okay as well. I've got a feeling, Matt, that Savadori's crashed and his bike or something, he's gone steaming up towards. I mean, let's wait and see what happens. But
two bikes on fire by the looks of it.
Riders are okay. Dani Pedrosa, what a relief it is to see that he's up on his feet.
Dani Pedrosa up. So here we go then. You can hear the engines firing back up in pit lane, and there is the green light and the green flag. So the pit lane will now be open for just 60 seconds. Pit lane will now get very, very busy indeed. And then there'll be one mechanic allowed onto the grid, just as a precautionary measure, just to make sure that if there are any mechanical problems or concerns about technical issues with the motorcycles, at least the riders do have one of their mechanics on hand. But other than that, if everything's a-okay, they'll quickly move off the grid, and then we'll be back underway for a 27-lap Styrian Grand Prix.
There's Danny Aldridge there, just going out onto the grid, ready to greet the riders. Quartararo, it looks like the last out, but they've all made it. There's 20 seconds to spare. El Diablo, the World Championship leader, take 2 in Styria. That's not the first time we've said that.
No, and without the red flag drama at the Red Bull Ring yet again, would have been probably on the last couple of laps, wondering if Pecco Bagnaia was still leading the Grand Prix and on course to keep Ducati's golden winning record going here in Austria. We get to do it all over again though, after the fireball drama involving Dani Pedrosa and Lorenzo Savadori. Then this is what the quick restart procedure is all about, as we just explained. The riders have 60 seconds to leave the pit lane, and then there is one mechanic permitted per rider on the grid. And that means that they're just able to make sure that everything's okay. As soon as they've got the thumbs up from the rider, they can depart the grid, and we will be back underway.
It's going to start again as a dry race. Will we get any rain clouds in the next 27 laps? We've got some footage here of what's happened then. So there you see the crash. Oh my word!
Yeah,
how on earth we have escaped any serious injury there is beyond me.
Dani Pedrosa was very, very fortunate. There was at least 10 riders that came through behind him, and then Lorenzo Savadori, as we suspected, just couldn't react in time. He was blindsided going in and just whacked into Dani Pedrosa's crashed Red Bull KTM. Arm goes up from Jorge Martin's mechanic there, signalling their man back to pole position for the second time today. Fabio Quartararo comes to the front row as well. There you go. That's all that they need to do, the mechanics. They just check with the rider that everything's okay mechanically wise, and then they will quickly make their way off the grid, and we're going to be back underway. 27 laps then for the second attempt to get this Styrian Grand Prix up and running.
Only one lap cut off. We're ready to go again. A full grid. And the warm-up lap.
Vinales arm up. Maverick Vinales has got his arm up. He stalled it. Maverick Vinales just looking out of our commentary box window.
Oh no. What a disaster.
He's got to start from pit lane now.
So he wheels off into pit lane, no warm-up lap, and he'll have to start the race from pit lane then, Maverick Vinales.
Well, he made the dream start in that first race. So Maverick Vinales stalls it on the grid ahead of Styria 2 2021. And it's a pit lane start for him.
Well, blink and you'll miss it here in Austria at the moment. All sorts of drama going on.
Maverick Vinales just cannot catch a break, can he?
Well, he's being allowed to head out for this warm-up lap.
Well, it'll be the back of the grid, won't it?
He can't believe it. Mind you, I tell you what, they're in for a mighty wait here. Because most of these guys now are already into Sector 3, and Vinales is already just about exiting pit lane. They're going to be waiting a little bit of a while here for Maverick Vinales to head back round. No, hang on, what's going on here? He's not... what's happening? Looked like he was released. Was he not supposed to be released?
Well, he saw the green light was on, but the rule was, I think, if you stall on the line, you just have to move into pit lane, that's it.
Yes. And it looks like he's been called back, so now he's
been
been told.
That's the pit lane exit. Yeah.
Okay, Vinales will start the race from pit lane then. Goodness me. Right, shall we try again? Jorge Martin lines up onto the grid, the rookie on pole position. Alongside him, Pecco Bagnaia and the World Championship leader, Fabio Quartararo. There will be a gap on the third row. Maverick Vinales then, having stalled by the looks of things on the warm-up lap for the second restart, will start this race from pit lane. But we are good to go for take two. It's time for Styria. Eyes on the lights. Out they go. Good start again for the Ducati boys, and Miller this time really gets it hooked up, number 43, as they go in towards turn one. Mir is challenging, but it is Jorge Martin from Miller.
There's more contact.
Not again. It's happened again.
Marquez and Aleix Espargaro, this time the nudge even bigger. Marquez into the side of Aleix Espargaro. He's out well wide, hung out to dry big time, the factory Aprilia man. And now then, it's Jack Miller, is it, that leads up into turn 3 up the inside of Jorge Martin.
Oh, it's all happening there. There was contact from teammates there from KTM, the Red Bull KTMs, I think, as well. Jack Miller, who fluffed it originally, is leading here in Styria. Martin up the inside of Mir. Then it's Pecco Bagnaia, then in fourth, ahead of Quartararo and Johan Zarco.
Marc Marquez officially off Aleix Espargaro's Christmas card list. Aleix Espargaro dumped down to 16th place through the first sector. He started 7th.
Another good start from Alex Rins as well. He's up to 8th already, the Suzuki man.
Nothing wrong with that new rear ride height device off the line, is there? So then, Jack Miller capitalising on his second chance. He fluffed the first start here in Austria, a big moment coming out the first corner. He was only just inside the top 10 when the red flag came out. Styria take 2 though, and he's taking full advantage. Pecco Bagnaia has also been a big loser on this first lap. He's just been nudged out of the top 6.
Yeah, Zarco moves up into 5th place. Then we complete first lap here of take 2 in Styria, and it is Miller who leads from Martin and Mir. It's the 3Ms into turn 1. Quartararo in 4th.
Like somebody was well
is that Marquez?
Yeah, Marquez. Well, he's hammered into Aleix Espargaro twice at turn 1, and now this time it looks like he's made another mistake all of his own doing, and this time he's the victim of his own error.
Oh, blimey, there's all sorts of moves being pulled off here by on Miguel Oliveira, that looks like, as well. Pol Espargaro then through on Marc Marquez, who's now dropped down to 14th place.
Remember, there's been some turn 1 drama for Marc Marquez so far here in Austria today. Miller then drops into turn 4 on lap 2, ahead of Jorge Martin, fellow Ducati rider.
Now, keep your eyes on 93, keep your eyes on 41, Aleix Espargaro, and Quartararo apparently involved as well. On the approach to turn 1 then, Marquez has got the inside line. Aleix Espargaro tips in. I think the first one from earlier was worse than that. I think it was more cheeky. That's more of a racing incident.
That was just Marquez running out of the room, didn't it, on the inside? But again, unfortunately, it was Aleix Espargaro who was the man that came out of it the worst.
Yeah, he's down in 16th place as a result of that. These guys all bunching up, Zarco included, at the back of this leading quintet, if you like. Miller, Mir, Martin, Quartararo, Zarco, Alex Marquez and Taka Nakagami in 6th and 7th place.
God, what a shot that was, initially looking forward from Mir to Miller, and then looking back from Miller to Mir.
What's happened to Bagnaia, man? He's dropped behind the 2 LCR Hondas. Alex Marquez and Nakagami are 6th and 7th. Brilliant for them. Bagnaia then dropped down to 8th.
Yeah, he's really struggling at the moment, isn't he? Pecco Bagnaia was leading before the red flag came out. Now then, Jorge Martin using that Ducati power to find a way through at the top of the hill, turn 3, up the inside of Joan Mir. Martin second. It's Miller, Martin, Mir, Quartararo, Zarco, number 5, P5. They all drop that right leg into that heavy braking zone down the hill into turn number 4.
Great job from Alex Marquez then, just trying to get his hooks into this leading group of 5. We head into turn 6. It's as you were, Jack Miller leading from Martin and Mir.
Marc Marquez, after his problems at the first corner on the first couple of laps, is down in 14th place, trying to find a way back through on his teammate Pol Espargaro.
Despite that incident that brought out the red flag earlier, Dani Pedrosa 15th, just behind the 2 Repsol Hondas, of course, the team he used to race for. Dropping down the hill into turn 9, here come the leaders again. This will be the end of lap 3. On board here with Miller, looking for his 3rd win in 2021.
Now this is where that new rear ride height device will come into its own for Suzuki. Perfect time to ride on board with Joan Mir. Now normally the Ducatis would be blitzing him here. He's losing ground, but nowhere near as much as what he normally would. They've got better acceleration on that GSX-R ride. It would be vital here, that low gear, first corner. Now this is...
Oh, Martin, sorry Matt, Martin is challenging for the lead. Brilliant. He goes through, and back in the background there, Zarco goes through on Fabio Quartararo as well, so the man on pole leads here in Styria.
Really good battle there, raging between the top 2 men in the championship, the 2 Frenchmen. Blur on blur. Quartararo still keeping Zarco at bay. That's a strong achievement given the power of that Ducati as well.
It's just, something just happened on the left of the time screens there. A name just went tumbling down. I don't know if that's a transponder issue. There's Iker Lecuona just ahead of Marc Marquez and Pol Espargaro. So Marquez up ahead now of Pol. See what happened here then to Marc Marquez into turn 1. It was a lunge up the inside of Nakagami, and he was going to hit into the back. He was never going to get that stop, Marc Marquez, and he had to sit it up and go straight on. That was on lap 2.
Pecco Bagnaia almost got absolutely walloped there by Marc Marquez. That was a bit out of control from the 8 times world champion. He's had his dramas. Alex Marquez there in the background coming down through turn 9. His LCR Honda was snaking around underneath him in the braking zone, although the younger Marquez was having an outstanding ride here in this second part of the Grand Prix, inside the top 6.
He's closing on these guys. He's closing. A 24.5 from Jorge Martin. That is the best lap of the race so far. In the background then, Alex Marquez and his teammate Nakagami are hunting down the top 5. Lucio Cecchinello will be very pleased with what he's seen. And remember, Nakagami tends to come on strong in the closing stages of races. He did that here last year.
I'd love to know what's happened to Pecco Bagnaia. He's just nowhere, struggling big time in this restart. There he is. He's coming under pressure again pretty soon from Marc Marquez, who gets a place back on Lecuona at turn 3. On that last lap, Bagnaia did a 1:26 flat. That was 1.5 seconds slower than Jorge Martin. What's happened to the Italian?
You could do with that espresso kicking in pretty quickly, couldn't he? Bagnaia's chances of a podium look like they've gone up in smoke already. Brad Binder as well. A very, very good start for him. He's up into 8th place, the number 33. He's leading KTM hopes at the moment, so whatever change maybe they made, Brad Binder is going forwards. Here is Valentino Rossi. He's got a couple of Italians around him at the moment. Enea Bastianini. Oh, Aleix Espargaro's name's just gone tumbling now. I don't know if something's happened to the Aprilia rider.
Well, there's been an eventful afternoon so far for the factory Aprilia man. A couple of contacts from Marc Marquez in the first corner. Now then, Jorge Martin here with Joan Mir for company. Martin will lead. He'll have that better drive on the Ducati coming out the final corner, but Mir piling the pressure on. Mir sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, just a thousandth of a second quicker than the man ahead of him. Aleix Espargaro's awful day has just been completely wrecked now. It looks like he's taken a bit of a whack to the ribs cage there as well, Aleix Espargaro. Not the afternoon that he was expecting after an excellent qualifying in 7th.
No Aprilia left in the race. It is Jorge Martin that leads from Joan Mir. Then it's Miller, Quartararo, Zarco, the 2 LCR guys, Binder, Rins, Oliveira. That's your top 10 as it stands. Espargaro's just dropped back to 16th, so number 44 struggling.
I don't think Jorge Martin can stick that right leg out any harder than what he is doing.
What's happened here then? It looks like Aleix Espargaro's just retired out of the race. It just looks like he's in a load of pain.
Well, he's had a couple of whacks on that side, hasn't he?
That's true. It is true.
He's got machine problems that have ruled him out, but there's been a couple of bits of hefty contact which have Cost him dearly, and I'm sure he's not going to be shy about expressing his opinion about that in his media debriefs later on.
On board with Joan Mir. So far this season, he's got himself a couple of podiums.
Well, he'll feel like this is a bit of payback for last year if he does go on to win this race. He was so well set to win Red Bull Ring 2 here last year. He's got a bit of a score to settle, having been so cruelly denied when Maverick Vinales had that brake failure. He was 2.5 seconds clear, wasn't he, of Taka Nakagami at the time.
Up the hill towards turn 3, and Martin and Mir, who know each other very, very well. They spent their entire childhood racing each other. There's a move there. Quartararo moves up ahead of Miller. He goes into 3rd place.
How many times have we seen that in Austria? A Yamaha outbraking a Ducati at the end of that first sector into turn 3. Just shows how good Fabio Quartararo is at getting that rear tyre hooked up out of turn 1, but Miller responds immediately, just using that poke of the Ducati over the crest, out of 3 and then down into turn 4. And Fabio Quartararo has got all that hard work to do all over again. He's trying to get up the inside of Miller into turn 6, and he's done it.
Yeah, the door open there from Miller. Quartararo has to get through because the gap to the front boys now is a second.
And this is where the Yamaha will work better than the Ducati in this 3rd sector. It will have the better corner speed, it'll have the better agility, so Quartararo has to try and break the Ducatis behind him here in this section. Otherwise, he's leaving himself wide open to an attack in the first corner.
Joan Mir getting very, very close here to Jorge Martin, looking for a move.
Yeah, what's happening, Steve, is while Quartararo, Zarco and Miller engage, these two are not really cutting each other up, carving each other up. They're able to just keep their fast rhythm. They've just again exchanged fastest laps of the race, and they're starting to break clear. Quartararo's dropped over a second behind the two Spaniards.
Further back, Nakagami has gone through on his teammate Alex Marquez, so Nakagami now up into 6th place.
And Fabio Quartararo's been brilliant again in Sector 1. The way he's been able to just get that power down on that Yamaha. Good scrap going on here between Marquez and Nakagami. That's for 6th spot. Now then, has Quartararo broken Miller and Zarco? He's got to now use the corner speed of the Yamaha in sectors 2 and 3 to his advantage to try and see if he's got anything to hunt down Martin and Mir now.
They have got nothing at the moment for Martin and Mir in terms of his speed, so Quartararo with work to do. Martin and Mir, as we mentioned, from kids, raced each other. Red Bull rookies, they challenged each other. Of course, Mir won the World Championship in Moto3 2017. Martin won it in 2018. Huge, huge Spanish talents. But Martin, remember, is the rookie. Mir is the world champion.
The track limits warning for Maverick Vinales. A long lap penalty would really rub salt into his wounds, having stalled it on the line. Having to start from pit lane. He's just about to pass Cal Crutchlow for 20th place as the Spaniard.
Saw a satellite team win here last year in the Grand Prix of Styria. Is Paolo Campanotti going to get his hands on a winner's trophy? Here we are on board with the Suzuki of Joan Mir.
They've never had an independent team win, have they, Ducati? All of their wins have been factory riders, I think, haven't they?
I think so, Matt. I think so. But they've got a lot of work on, because keeping Joan Mir at bay for 19 more laps is going to be very, very difficult.
Fabio Quartararo is riding out of his skin at the moment, showing exactly why he's the World Championship leader, because Miller and Zarco just cannot get on his case at all. The gap is just 0.4 of a second, but the Ducatis just can't gobble up that time in the areas where they're traditionally strong, particularly through turns 1, 2 and 3.
A little peek further back through the order. Behind Marquez and Nakagami, Rins is through on the KTMs, so the Suzuki man is 8th. Behind the KTMs is Bagnaia. Marquez still just behind him.
See, Jorge Martin proved in Doha when he started from pole position he's more than capable and comfortable leading in MotoGP despite his lack of experience. You have to remember, given his injuries, this is just his 6th start in the Premier class, and he's got the world champion, a double world champion, who loves the Red Bull Ring, right behind him as well.
18 laps to go. They're pretty happy with how things are going at the moment in the Suzuki camp. Through turn 1, uphill. You can see quite clearly that what that device has done for Suzuki has given them quite clearly a few extra tenths that they needed to contend for a race win.
Fabio Quartararo again was just able to take a 10th out of Miller and Zarco behind him. and that ekes his advantage out to nearly half a second. A bit further back there, Nakagami and Marquez are starting to be reeled in by Alex Rins, who's got himself into the high 24s as well. Nakagami, Marquez just ahead of him, back in the 25s on that previous lap.
Marquez not able to get through on Pecco Bagnaia as yet. Here are the two LCR riders. Nakagami then has now, I think, got past and dealt with the attacks coming from his teammate. A track limits warning coming for Pecco Bagnaia further back then in 11th.
Yeah, he had a long lap penalty, didn't he, for track limits in Assen 6 weeks ago. Pol Espargaro, Nakagami, Vinales and Rossi also on track limit warnings as well.
There would be mixed emotions if the checkered flag came out right now for Paolo Ciabatti and Davide Tardozzi and Gigi Dall'Igna with no factory Ducati on the podium, but with Jorge Martin winning. Further back, Marc Marquez has gone past Pecco Bagnaia. Bagnaia then, can you believe it, leading when the red flag came out, down to 12th here.
Shocking slump, did not see that coming at all, particularly as he got away well offline. Talking about Martin was wide there, clearly. Talking about riders with scores to settle, Joan Mir, Jorge Martin's got a bit of a revenge mission for the Red Bull Ring. Of course, he crossed the checkered flag first in Moto2 here last year, and then had that win scrubbed off for himself, exceeding track limit on the last lap in a real titanic tussle with Marco Bezzecchi. So these two both looking for a bit of payback.
Yeah, Mir will just be content to kind of keep on applying the pressure and hope that the rookie Martin somewhere maybe slips up.
It never happened in Doha, did it? Like you said, I mean, it was immaculate in Doha. It was just that lack of experience late on when he was just struggling to manage the rear grip that he really struggled to hold on to lead. But Bastianini, that's going to be tight. There wasn't a lot of room there. If any room at all, he just squeezes out Iker Lecuona into turn 4, and Lecuona also loses a spot to the little samurai Dani Pedrosa as well.
Well, at least Dani Pedrosa's got some dry track time here. It was looking like an early bath, wasn't it, earlier on? And now Bastianini, so often he does this, the rookie. From way back on the grid, he picks off his candidates one by one. He's up into 13th place now. Good effort.
Should mention as well that while Lorenzo Savadori was eligible to restart this race, he didn't, I guess, in too much pain after that huge incident up at turn 3, which brought out the red flags involving Dani Pedrosa as well.
Valentino Rossi, a quick check on the doctor, is one place behind Pol Espargaro. Pit Byra there, not the day that I'm sure they were all hoping for on the approach to the Grand Prix of Styria.
No, not at all. You can just see where the Ducati and the Suzuki's strengths and weaknesses come into play. Martin is really, really strong in the first 2 sectors, and then Mir takes all that time back with the corner speed of the Suzuki in sector 3. In fact, on that last lap, Mir was 2/10 quicker in sector 3 alone than Jorge Martin. But Jorge Martin, he did not buckle under pressure in Doha. It was just, as we mentioned, the inexperience and time management which cost him. He still was able to finish on the podium behind Fabio Quartararo and Johan Zarco at the moment. Joan Mir piling the pressure on, but Martin resisting.
Oh, I tell you, Martin is going to be getting a track limits warning shortly.
Yeah, there's lots and lots of riders. There's no room for error around this circuit, is there, Steve? There's only 10 corners, and it's so easy just to stray a fraction offline, small margins, but nobody knows how much that can prove costly with Jorge Martin last year. Alex Rins now, the latest rider to have a track limits warning. There's going to be somebody in the long lap soon.
This is the meanest, the fastest that we've seen Joan Mir all year long. Shinichi Sahara, the project leader, to his left. Ken Kawauchi with his magic clipboard.
This is just going to give everybody at Suzuki. Vinales, what we were just saying about a long lap penalty, it's come in the way of Maverick Vinales. His disastrous day continues. When you think about what happened to Maverick Vinales in both Austria races last year, he will not be looking forward to coming back next weekend. He'll be sick of the sights of the Red Bull Ring, Maverick Vinales, because he's now got a long lap penalty, having missed the start because he stalled it on the line. I was just about to say, what a boost this will be for the whole of Suzuki's MotoGP project. When you bring a new part like they've done this weekend with that rear ride height device, you want to see it reap instant rewards, and that is exactly what is happening right now with Joan Mir trying. He's having to work hard to keep tabs with Jorge Martin, isn't he?
He really is. Martin is doing a splendid job
this
out front.
Unbelievable. I mean, with the greatest respect to Jorge Martin, pre-weekend we were thinking Zarco, Bagnaia or Miller were probably the most likely candidates to keep Ducati's great winning record going here in Spielberg. Well, Jorge Martin proving a lot of people wrong at the moment, including me.
Yeah, well, he's just class, isn't he? He's class. Here we are then, looking on board with Fabio Quartararo in third place. He won't mind this.
Oh, this
does not damage his championship at all. It does him a massive favour, in fact. Mir is the only one that can close on him, of course, but he will extend his championship lead, which is all that matters.
There's been a couple of times this year, Steve, where we've spoken to him post-race and he said that podium felt like a win. This will fall in that category as well. If any Yamaha rider can get out of the Red Bull ring with a podium, it's like gold. They've only ever had in 6 previous races 2 podiums here. Jorge Lorenzo 2016 and Fabio Quartararo in 2019. There have been collector's items. Who was that touring there? Was that Pedrosa?
It looked like Miguel Oliveira.
It was one of the KTMs.
It's Miguel Oliveira. Is he just not got enough energy left?
Well, yesterday, Steve, he had that big crash, didn't he, at turn 3.
Or is it a mechanical?
Tip Byra, it looks like it's a mechanical.
Like it's a mechanical for Miguel Oliveira.
That's a real shame because he was working incredibly hard to keep himself inside the top 10. Yesterday, he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, the pain in that right hand, a full 10. It was absolute agony. And the problem is he couldn't get the handlebars properly and brake, so he was having to use other parts of his right arm, the triceps and the forearm, to compensate. And of course, that was fatiguing then quickly. He knew it was going to be a tough race, so for his motorcycle to let him down, that's cruel in the extreme for Oliveira.
Halfway through this race, 13 laps to go. And no sign of Jorge Martin buckling under any pressure from the world champion.
There's just nothing between them. That last lap again, they both swapped 24.4s. They're running identical pace, the pair of them. You can just see there in the background, Johann Zarco. He hasn't got the pace at the moment to go with Quartararo and Miller. Looks like the number 5 might have to settle for P5 and of course lose crucial points to Quartararo in the championship. There's another long lap penalty, this time going the way of Bastianini. So the long lap about to become very busy. Yeah, Oliveira's pitted. That's unlucky. If it's a technical problem, he didn't deserve that because he was riding above and beyond the call of duty. He's in absolute excruciating agony with that right hand.
Yeah, a real shame for Miguel Oliveira. Let's just hope that somehow something can be done to help lift him into contention next weekend. He's looking down at the bike, isn't he? He's not going immediately to that right hand. I'm sure we'll pick the bones out of that at some point. And now Bastianini then, who's worked so hard to climb up to 12th, might not even be able to score any points. He's got a very fast Dani Pedrosa behind him at the moment. Dani Pedrosa is faster than the 4 riders ahead of him on circuit. He could be destination top 10 here.
Don't mention track limits to Enea Bastianini. It's been his Achilles heel this weekend. He missed out on a place in Q2 yesterday because he was exceeding the track limit.
Simon, any news regarding the reason behind the retirement for Miguel?
Guys, I just ran down there to watch him as he got off the bike, and there's a piece missing out of the front tyre.
Oh, wow. Crikey. Wow.
That's definitely a good enough reason.
Yeah, no wonder he pulled in.
Different tyre combos here for the guys, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Medium for Quartararo, hard front, medium rear for Miller. Medium front, soft rear for Johann Zarco. Couple of riders changed their tyre decisions in between the red flag and the new restart. Quartararo might just have to fight here to hold on to this podium.
Oliveira did say yesterday, I think the KTMs, they always like to run that hardest compound front tyre, but he felt like even the hard here this weekend was too soft to suit the KTM. Shout out to Taka Nakagami, he's doing a good job. He's without a top 6 since Jerez, that 4th place. So good to see him back towards the sharp end of the MotoGP race.
This is where we're at then. We've got Martin and Mir fighting it out for 1st and 2nd, and Miller now really piling on the pressure on Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah, and he knows he's got time. You can forget about Martin and Mir. This is all just about Miller now, focusing on the attack on Fabio Quartararo. Alex Marquez becomes another rider with a track limit. I've never seen so many riders in a MotoGP race get track limit warnings.
Fabio Quartararo said yesterday, we're so often so close to the green here, it's the easiest track on the calendar for that to go wrong. On board here, you can just see in that little mirror, if you like, where Jack Miller is. That'll be a boost for him if he can return from the summer break with a podium.
This will feel like 11 very long laps of Fabio Quartararo trying to defend a podium against a Ducati in Austria. Not an easy task.
Down the hill into turn 4.
Now, this is where the Yamaha will be stronger. We've seen it throughout the weekend. It's turn 3 with its turning issues still, its long-standing turning issues. The Ducati just does not work as well as Fabio Quartararo's Yamaha. But what they lose here, of course, is what they will gain on the horsepower, the drag race out of turns 1 and 3.
Jorge Martin has been given track limits warning, the race leader, number 89, and there's still 11 long laps to go.
Yeah, and there's pressure that's been relentless from Mir behind him. So he's got to be precise. I wonder if he just had a glance down there at the dashboard, whether that's already flashed up, because there was definitely a movement of his head as he dropped down into turn 10.
Here you can see this is where it came, and he will have known as well. That gave him a right shake-up.
Fair play, though, the pair of them again. It's another set of 124.4s, about half a second quicker than this pair.
Up the hill we go. Martin, no, still in control, 6/10 clear.
That looks like the biggest gap it's been. In fact, out of nowhere, Martin found a couple of tenths. Did Mir make some kind of mistake in the first corner? Did he just lose a bit of drive on the exit? Because in that first sector, Martin was just able to find a couple of tenths.
What a difference a year makes. The squatting device from Yamaha that they've produced, the acceleration that they now have, that they did not have previously, means that even though Ducati's top speed advantage is far greater, it takes them so long to try and catch up again. That great aerial shot a moment ago of them coming out of at turn 3 really showed you just how much Yamaha have improved, and Miller's gone down chasing the podium. That may well be World Championship over for Jack Miller.
He had time. Davide Tardozzi can't believe it. There was 10 laps to go. Jack Miller, what was going on there? You know, he knows that sector 3 is where the Yamaha was just gaining on him, and that's now potentially 2 DNFs on the trot for Jack Miller.
Here he comes then into turn 7, just carrying maybe a bit too much corner speed, and that's 2 crashes in the last 2 races for Miller.
On a Ducati, you can't match the corner speed of a Yamaha in turns 6, 7 and 8. You just can't. So then that pushes Zarco up to 4th place, and that's quite a comfortable gap there now for Fabio Quartararo. 2 seconds back to his fellow Frenchman. I was just about to say, I'd love to know, I can't wait for the post-race inquest on Pecco Bagnaia. Because on the previous lap, he was in the 24s. There was only 2 men on circuit quicker than him, and that was the 2 top men, Martin and Mir. At one stage, though, he was doing 26s early on. This gap's going up. This gap is going up.
Simon, your views on the crash here for frustrated Miller, who enters pit lane?
I just wanted to point out, he in the top 7, 6, 7, he was the only one running the stronger front, the hard.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Simon. He'll be mighty frustrated with himself. He's furious as Jack Miller, chasing the podium and down and out. There's a long lap penalty coming for Pol Espargaro on the Repsol Honda. His teammate Marc Marquez has been given a track limits warning, and he's just climbed up to 8th ahead of his brother Alex Marquez. Meanwhile, out front, 8 laps to go, and it's 7/10 of a second the advantage for Jorge Martin.
I think you're right, Stephen. I think Jack Miller knows that was a massive blow for his championship aspirations. He was already 56 points adrift of Fabio Quartararo going into this Austria race, facing the towel, head in hands. He knows, well, that mistake there may well have cost him the chance to take this championship charge further into the season. He's livid, he knows. Turn 7, unlucky number 7 for Jack Miller.
No saving that, unfortunately, for Miller. Bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, and what's that's done, it's given Fabio Quartararo quite a comfortable ride now to the podium.
Do you know what, Matt? It's not looking like Mir's got an answer for Jorge Martin at the moment. Well, he's pulling away. Look, he's almost a second clear now. Martin is carrying the hopes of Ducati on his shoulders. There's no factory Ducati at the moment inside the top 8.
This is just absolutely stunning, absolutely sensational.
What a ride, what a rider he is in general, Jorge Martin. He's always had a touch of class, the 23-year-old, and Paolo Campinotti now. He's been very, very close before,
yeah.
Matt, so he will not be counting his chickens just yet.
Ducati, they've had a lot of success in MotoGP, but never with an independent team rider. It's not done yet. There's still 7 laps to go here in Spielberg, and those 7 laps are going to feel like 7 months to Pramac Ducati.
Joan Mir is as smart as they come, the world champion. Is he saving himself? Is he on the absolute limit? As he keeps a beady eye on the Pramac Ducati of Jorge Martin, who has been given a track limits warning, remember. Here's a replay of these guys trying to stop their mean machines, braking from 312 kilometres an hour, Martin, down to 95.
I know the rules are the rules, but I really hope this race isn't decided in the long lap penalty loop.
Yes, absolutely agree with you on that one. Absolutely agree. Daniele Romagnoli, their crew chief too, Jorge Martin, and just on the left there as well. We heard from him already, Francesco Guidotti.
I don't think Francesco Guidotti had that much grey hair at 2 p.m. earlier on this afternoon. He had a few more fingernails as well. This is winding up to a monumental day for Pramac Ducati and Jorge Martin.
And yet again, despite not looking like he had the speed all weekend, Zarco he's got another top 5 on the cards here.
Yeah, he's quite good at the old salvage jobs, isn't he, Johan Zarco? So he'll only be losing 3 points at the moment to Fabio Quartararo, so the gap will go up to 37.
It's looking like being the first top 6 of the season for Nakagami. Rins has climbed into 6th. Binder 7th is certainly not bad from where he was on the grid.
Again, it's the exact... Oh, Mia's made a mistake there at turn 3. I was just about to say that again they did the exact same lap time, 24.5s, but you can see there into turn 3. That's because Mir is just throwing everything at Jorge Martin. He just cannot get him to crack. And it's Mir that makes the first mistake in the braking zone for turn 3. Cost him a couple of tenths.
Yeah, it's over a second now with just 6 laps to go. Is that it? Will Mir wave the white flag and say, second will do today?
I was just about to say as well, Mir must just be looking ahead and thinking, at what point does he maybe run into a few rear tyre issues with his lack of experience? Will he tyre? Because of course he's still not really back to 100% fitness, is he, Jorge Martin? Well, there's no fatigue, obviously. Adrenaline's getting into this point. Can Mir regroup and go again to try and force a mistake from Jorge Martin, which has not looked like coming at all?
It's Pramac Ducati versus Suzuki. We're going to look at that moment for Joan Mir then on the approach to turn 3. Here he is on the brakes. Yeah, a bit too deep.
Yeah, and that cost him about 0.4 of a second, and that's just given a little bit of a cushion to Jorge Martin.
Ducati versus Suzuki, the rookie versus the world champion. It's Madrid versus Mallorca.
Jorge Martin, it's another 24.5. It's not just the speed, it's the consistency as well to match. This has been a performance of a seasoned MotoGP veteran, not a guy in his 6th race.
Only the true greats in MotoGP win this early on in their MotoGP career, and Jorge Martin is going to add himself to that collection. I mean, that was a horrific crash that he suffered in Portugal earlier on this year, and you could have forgiven him for coming back and it taking some time to really bed in.
Simon, you've got some observations from pit lane.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if it was this stage of the race, or even like 7 laps to go at Mugello or Assen, I would be worried for Jorge's, physical condition. But this track is less physical. It hasn't got the big, fast changes of direction like those other 2 tracks I mentioned, which really tire the riders out.
Thank you very much, Simon. That's a very good point indeed. There's just 4 laps then separating Jorge Martin, the rookie, from his first ever MotoGP win in just his 6th MotoGP race. Another
124.4 from Martin. I've lost count how many times he's been in that 124.4, 124.5 bracket. Again, Mir not a lot slower.
This man on screen knows what it feels like to win in your rookie season. In just a few races, Brad Binder, and he's doing a good job here late on as well to salvage a top 6 Binder then. That's a decent result, actually. It wasn't looking like it was going to be possible. 16th on the grid, Brad Binder, to 6th place in the race. But this is the man who is on course to make history, and it looks like it's just too much for Mir now. 1.8 seconds. I think Mir has said enough is enough. Yeah, I'll take the 20.
Yeah, he's got to think about the championship, hasn't he, Joan Mir? There's a man who was such an influence. He signed Joan Mir after just one season in Moto2. He nurtured him into a MotoGP world champion. But even the world champion at the moment can't race Jorge Martin late on here at the Red Bull Ring. There are just 3 laps now and 1 corner left for the 23-year-old Spaniard. And standing on the brink of a famous victory, not just for him, but for Pramac Ducati as well. They've been stalwart supporting both Ducati and the MotoGP World Championship as one of the top independent teams, and their day in the sunshine is about to come potentially here.
We said last year when Binder won, and of course we saw all of these young guns coming through, Quartararo, you know, Bagnaia, Mir, the world champion. Of course, we're seeing Pedrosa retiring, Lorenzo retiring, Rossi announcing it. It is a change of the guard in MotoGP. We have some fresh, hungry talent, and this young man is such a huge talent. And we've known it ever since he entered the Grand Prix paddock. But this is something special.
Just not put a foot wrong so far. It's been absolute perfection, this by Jorge Martin. Mir just hasn't, he's done his absolute best, but he just cannot run the pace, and he's called it off now, Mir. He's thinking about the championship. He's tried to pressure Martin, the mistake hasn't come. And now Joan Mir is thinking, yeah, there's no sense in throwing away 20 precious World Championship points, fighting for a win that I'm not going to get. He's going to just have to yield to the better man today.
You're looking here at Pecco Bagnaia chasing Marc and Alex Marquez, and just behind, look who it is. He's catching them. Dani Pedrosa. Take a bow. This is incredible. His first race since Valencia 2018. His first race in nearly 3 years.
This will hurt Pecco Bagnaia immensely, because he was hoping that this Ducati-favoured circuit would maybe helping him to his first MotoGP win. He's now, what, 39 MotoGP starts without a win, and here's Jorge Martin on the same bike, about to take victory in just his 6th Grand Prix. It all went wrong right from the start of this restart for Bagnaia. He was super slow.
Answers on a postcard. Simon, your views on Pecco Bagnaia?
Guys, in my opinion, there has to be some sort of technical problem. Pecco has been awesome all weekend, and I fully expected him to be at the front today.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, he was, until the red flag came out. There's got to be a reason, and I'm sure we'll find out at the end of this race, but he's going to be bitterly disappointed, because this is going to cut him further adrift in the World Championship as well.
Showan Zarco's got to be a little bit careful here, because Taka Nakagami's got to within about half a second of him in that fight for 4th place. Zarco should have that one under control,
well,
but
they've got Binder for company as well, I should just point out.
4 tenths now, and Nakagami's found another 1/10 of a second. So, Daniele Romagnoli, Francesco Guidotti, Pramac Ducati management, Paolo Campinotti, he can barely watch 1 lap to go for the Martinator, and a famous first victory. He took a sensational pole position yesterday. He's about to follow it up with a victory in a restarted Styrian Grand Prix.
Don't be surprised further back, whilst we're covering this one, if Brad Binder doesn't pass Nakagami and Zarco. He is right on their tail. They are now approaching turn 3. That's the battle for 4th place.
Crucial World Championship points here for Zarco to try and defend. He's going to have his work cut out to keep Nakagami and a hard-charging Binder at bay. Quattararo's got a safe and secure 3rd place. He'll take that job done. A rare Yamaha podium here in Austria.
This young man was truly gutted when his KTM dream came to an end, and Ducati were first in the queue and said, "We'll have you, please." Pramac Ducati have been waiting for this moment for so long. What a prize move it was to bring Jorge Martin in, and they have been trusty members of this paddock as well. So pleased for them if this one comes off.
Pramac power over the hill for the final time. And Jorge Martin, 2 corners away from his first MotoGP victory. Just turned 10 left for him to negotiate. And it's another Ducati win here in Austria.
They don't call him the Martinator for nothing. Jorge Martin is a MotoGP winner here in Styria. He finishes ahead of Joan Mir. Pramac Ducati have their win in MotoGP in the hands of a rookie.
Yeah.
And a win that will feel like for Fabio Quartararo, who will extend his championship lead, and Binder did get Nakagami and Zarco on the line.
What a last lap from Brad Binder. Started at 6, picked off Zarco and Nakagami. That was a costly last lap for Johan Zarco. He came over the line 4th and lost vital World Championship points. Valentino Rossi comes home in 13th place. That's one of several glowing tributes. Now, what's happened here? Looks like there's been a bit of a tangle in the celebrations between our podium men.
Fantastic moment, of course. There will be mixed emotions in some ways for Tardozzi and Delinia and co, because their factory boys have not had a good day in the end. But
brilliant.
What a moment for Pramac Ducati. Paolo Campanotti, Francesco Guidotti there, Daniele Romagnoli. They work so hard. They have gone so close in the past, and finally they have their victory.
Maverick Vinales last again, sadly. Second time in 3 races for him, right at the back of the pack. But this man was absolutely awesome. There's his father, Papa Martin, congratulating his son. I remember before he was picked up by Fausto Gresini, the late great Fausto Gresini in Moto3. At one stage he thought it was never going to happen for him in the World Championship. He went to a Red Bull Rookies tryout, I think it was in Aragon, where it was basically make or break. He said if I wasn't picked that year, then it was over. And there he is now in 2021, a MotoGP winner, and in some style as well.
He can't believe it. He cannot believe it. But he's won in everything he's ever entered. Red Bull Rookie Champion, Moto3 Champion, Moto2 race winner, now MotoGP race winner.
Yeah, make him to be the 115th different rider to win a Premier Class World Championship race. And it was a supreme performance. He did not look like a rookie at any point. Brilliant. Really strong ride as well by Joan Mir in 2nd place. Let's go down to see if he can even muster a word. I'm sure he's got a sore throat. Francesco Guidotti with our race winner, Jorge Martin. Simon, down to you.
Yeah, Francesco, when I asked you on the grid what you thought was realistic for Jorge, I had doubts he could do it today, you know, as big a fan as I am of him. But you picked it when you said anything is possible. What do you think?
I thought it could be possible to win, and but he's fantastic. He's one of the most talented riders I ever had. He was focused after the first start, after the stop. He said, "I tried to go," and he did. So nothing to say. He's amazing.
Huge congratulations.
Sorry.
Congratulations.
Speechless almost there, Francesco Guidotti. He said yesterday he wasn't 100% fit. He was struggling with some bicep injuries. News just coming to us, by the way, Bagnaia has received a 3-second penalty, failing to comply with a long lap penalty, which pushes him down to 11th. That pushes Dani Pedrosa into 10th, which is a heroic ride.
Great to see Taka Nakagami back in the top 6, a hard-fought 5th place for the Japanese rider.
Binder, what a racer this guy is on a Sunday. 16th on the grid to 4th.
Yeah, he was 4th in one of the races here last year as well, wasn't he? Jorge Martin and Joan Mir both get some kind of payback. Can you believe it? Jorge Martin, in one of the double-header races here last year, thought he won the Moto2 race. It was snatched away. This was the last lap. Zarco started at 4th and he gets picked off by Nakagami and by Binder and loses crucial World Championship points. Suzuki's new rear ride height device seemed to do the trick pretty quickly, didn't it? Let's speak to Shinichi Sahara after a fantastic 2nd place for World Champion Joan Mir. He's with Simon.
Shinichi-san, what a fantastic effort. You must be pleased with both your riders and your engineers.
Yeah, both of our riders and engineers make a very good job, and I cannot say thank you enough to them, but yeah, they're working quite amazing. And okay, now I want to congratulate Joan first, and then of course I have to say thank you to my engineers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great to see these images here. Fantastic scenes. Mir, Martin, Quartararo, part of the 2016 Moto3 club, of course.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Suzuki know that Joan Mir has left every ounce of sweat out on that circuit today. He could not have tried any more. He's a proper warrior, a proper fighter, Joan Mir. It was that mistake, wasn't it, at turn 3 with about 6 laps to go, which really put paid to his victory hopes. He'll probably acknowledge he's such a fair competitor, Joan Mir, that even without that mistake, he may well not have had something for Jorge Martin. There he is, they're going to congratulate his team, and I'm sure he's delighted. He will know there are more podiums and victories coming now. Suzuki have that rear ride height device. A fantastic embrace between the rising stars of MotoGP. Fabio Quartararo, the World Championship leader, aged just 22. A new MotoGP winner, 23-year-old Jorge Martin, in Parc Ferme with a world champion, Joan Mir, who himself is just 23 years of age.
Yeah, quite incredible, isn't it? That you don't get podiums a lot younger than that in MotoGP. We said the changing of the guard. MotoGP's future is changing. The new breed are coming. The new aliens are on their way.
Paolo Campinotti has put so much human and financial resources into that Pramac Ducati team, and finally he gets to see his rider stand on the top step of the podium in MotoGP. The fans on the virtual fan wall gathered across the four corners of the globe. I'm sure they would have enjoyed that one, particularly if they were Jorge Martin and Ducati fans. So 7 races in MotoGP here in Austria, 6 of them now have gone to Ducati, and Jorge Martin is a Ducati race winner in Austria with legends like Jorge Lorenzo, Andrea Dovizioso and Andrea Iannone.
Alex Rins finished in 7th in the end, couldn't quite fight through the barrier to join up with the fight between Binder, Nakagami and Zarco. Faded a little. More work to do in the next week for the number 42 side of the garage.
Yeah, he was quite comprehensively outgunned by his teammate Joan Mir, wasn't he? Over 13 seconds back. P1 then on the grid, and P1 in the race when it really mattered for Jorge Martin. Can you believe it? 6 Grand Prix starts, 2 poles, 2 podiums and 1 win. What a future that young man has in the MotoGP World Championship. He triumphs here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, a restarted Styrian Grand Prix after the drama with Lorenzo Savadori and Dani Pedrosa early on. But he kept his cool, he kept his composure, and in the restart, he was absolutely untouchable. What about this man, though, Fabio Quartararo, on the podium on the Yamaha? I'm sure that was a huge bonus result for him. He extends his lead in the World Championship. He's with Simon in Parc Ferme.
Fabio, after a long race at a circuit that is traditionally not good for Yamaha, and all the worries about weather you were clearly concerned about, how does it feel to now stand on the podium?
Feels so good because, you know, when there is a red flag, it's always tough, even if it's not a big crash. I made an impressive overtake on the race 1 on turn 6. I was a little bit on the limit, but, you know, to repeat again was difficult. Also, I knew that Jack was so fast, and I was extremely good on braking off turn 3. Let's say I knew that there was a point to overtake if I had the possibility, and we did it. And I don't really know the position of the other guys apart from Joan that finished in front of us. He always have been fast on that track, so I'm so happy. And yeah, was the best goal was to finish on the podium. We did it. So happy for Jorge. He take out some point of Joan, so yes, let's see on the next week, but good taste.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I bet it is a good taste. He's a big winner in many ways today, Fabio Quartararo. He's extended his World Championship lead over Joan Zarco to 40 points.
Well, if he thinks he owes Jorge Martin for beating Joan Mir, he certainly owes Brad Binder and Taka Nakagami as well, because he won't realise as yet, but they both passed Joan Zarco, his closest title rival, on the very last lap. And you can see what it means to Quartararo's team. Any Yamaha rider that salvages a podium around this tough Red Bull Ring circuit for the Yamaha. They don't have the horsepower and the acceleration of the Hondas, KTMs or Ducatis. But Fabio Quartararo still able to find himself on the podium in a bit of a bogey circuit for the Iwata factory. Here's Joan Mir, then the world champion, with another world champions ride. Second here in Styria. He's with Simon in Park Ferme.
Joan, you've looked fantastic all weekend, and it looked from the outside like you put everything into that race.
Yes, today was close. I'm happy because all the weekend we've been there overall, but you know, it was. I needed a couple of tenths per lap to fight finally with Jorge. He made a great job. We must push a bit more. We must find something more for next weekend if we want to be on the top of the podium. But well, anyway, I'm happy, proud of the team. They made a great job this summer, bringing some new items, and finally the performance is higher. So happy and proud of them.
Great job, Joan.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. Podiums either side of the summer break, Matt, just showing why he's the world champion here at the moment.
100%. I just love watching this guy ride. I like his aggression, I like his attacking style, I like how he just gives everything. You always know that Joan Mir out there is going to try his heart out, and that new rear ride height device, well, it's clearly taken Suzuki a step closer to the top step of the podium. And with more development time and track time, of course, and more experience and knowledge, well, they're only going to get stronger. I expect that young man to be fighting for the victory again next weekend. But today, beaten by the better man, and that better man was the brilliant Jorge Martin. In just his 6th MotoGP start, he finds himself on the top step of the podium for Pramac Ducati. What a drama-filled afternoon that was. And here he is, your first time race winner in MotoGP. Congratulations to Jorge Martin with Simon in Park Ferme.
Jorge Martin, MotoGP winner. How does that sound?
Wow, mate, I can't believe it. I mean, for sure, I think I don't believe it, so that's why I'm not so excited, because I think what I did today was amazing. I keep a really constant pace during all the race in the same 10th. I was super focused, and even if I did some mistakes, my target was to win the race. And yeah, Joan was impressive today also. He was behind me almost all the race, but then the last laps I tried a bit more. I tried to brake a bit harder, even if the tire was destroyed, the front tire, and yeah, I could take this gap for the lead. The last laps I was thinking out of things about everybody that helped me to arrive here, and that's why I did a bit worse in the last laps. But you know, I had this gap to manage. Thanks to all my family because this is one big step for my big dream, that is being world champion. So today is one big step. We are a bit closer, and yeah. Again, I want to dedicate to all the people that helped me, but for sure to my grandfather, that he's still fighting. So this for you, and yeah. Hope to keep this line for the next weekend. Will be more difficult, but I think we still have some margin for work, and yeah, I will try for the win again.
Incredible, Jorge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Matt, he's a class act.
He really is. He really is. There's just so much to admire about Jorge Martin on and off the circuit, and there it is. A moment that he will never forget. You can never take those special moments away from a rider. The sweet taste of success, your first MotoGP victory. Something that he's dreamt about since he was a kid, and it's been hard. It's not been an easy journey to the top step of the podium in MotoGP. Pramac Ducati, so happy for that team as well, because they've supported the MotoGP World Championship for such a long time. They've had to wait for that first victory. That's what it means to Paolo Campinotti. KTM's loss was certainly Ducati's gain with a certain Jorge Martin, wasn't it?
I love the hashtag down there as well, Martinator with the #1 replacing the I. That's what's that, 3 satellite or independent teams that have won MotoGP races, if you include Morbidelli at the end of last year as well. Great to see. It just shows you how great MotoGP is at the moment.
And that was not an easy afternoon, Steve, because he was under relentless pressure from me. You've got to remember as well, he would have been under pressure on pole position, and with Ducati's record here in Austria, and then for a rookie to have to regroup and compose himself after that long interruption for the red flag, he did it brilliantly. No wonder Fonzi Nieto, the Pramac Ducati rider coach, can't fight back the tears. Well, he said he hasn't really let it sink in yet, and that's understandable. He hasn't really got that long for it to sink in because he's back on track in 5 days' time.
No, exactly, but that's going to be perfect for him.
Yeah,
the confidence he's going to get now from that will be rushing through his veins. And apparently he's not even 100% fit yet. So what does a fit Martinator do?
Scary, scary prospect. Absolutely brilliant performance. He said there were a few mistakes in there late on. Well, they weren't obvious ones. We couldn't spot them because it was an awesome job by an awesome rider. And Fabio Quartararo, you can see why his team was so happy, because they know that was a big result, particularly for the championship, with Johann Zarco struggling late on to hang on to that 4th place. At one point it looked like Zarco was only losing 3 points, but he lost 4th to Nakagami and Binder, who came through on the Red Bull KTM, charging through late on. Suzuki, you have to congratulate the Hamamatsu factory engineers. Yes, they've been quite a long time behind everybody else on the grid in terms of implementing that rear ride height device, but when it has finally rocked up, it works. So congratulations to their engineers, and of course to their test team as well, Sylvain Guintoli and Tom O'Kane, who's actually down there as well as part of the celebration. Such a vital part of the backroom team at Suzuki. And this is going to be a special, special moment indeed for a man who's always at the heart of everything at Pramac Ducati. Such a likeable character. Francesco Guidotti will come and take the Constructor Prize for Ducati. Fabio Quartararo back on the podium yet again in 2021. Joan Mir, back-to-back podiums for the world champion as well. But special scenes, special memories being created here right now by the man who leaps onto the top step of the podium, and why wouldn't he? Jorge Martin, a first-time winner in MotoGP. He's now got the full set of Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP winner. That's a pretty exclusive club. Tamara Overreda, a super fan, has the honour of handing over the race-winning prize for the constructors to Pramac Ducati. Fabio Quartararo increases World Championship lead. Scott Clark from the title sponsors Michelin hands over the 3rd place trophy to the 22-year-old Frenchman. That is a 21st career podium for Quartararo, 17th in MotoGP. And for only the 2nd time actually in MotoGP, it's podiums in 3 in a row for Fabio Quartararo. 2nd place goes to Joan Mir, the reigning world champion. That's his 31st career podium, the 11th in MotoGP, and he now moves up to 3rd place in the World Championship after a tough day at the office for Pecco Bagnaia. But it's been a great day, an unforgettable day for Pramac Ducati and Jorge Martin. George Villegas, the FIM president, hands over the race-winning prize to 23-year-old Spaniard Jorge Martin. His 11th career win, 1st in MotoGP, 30th podium of his Grand Prix career. The Martinator firing at the Red Bull Ring. Can he make it 2 out of 2 in Austria? Well, we'll find out in 7 days' time. But let's hear the Spanish national anthem ring out here in Styria.
Amazing scenes, emotional as well there for Jorge Martin. He's heard that national anthem ring out for himself on many occasions, but not as a MotoGP winner, and that's great to see as well. Johann Zarco going down to join in with the celebrations and congratulate his Pramac Ducati teammate. The new generation of MotoGP stars. 5 years ago, these guys were here in Austria battling it out in Moto3. 5 years on, they are top of the tree in MotoGP.
Yeah, and we were right. Thankfully, it is the first ever independent team success for Ducati. And they've had some top talent try in Pramac Ducati back in the day. Jorge Martin gets his first MotoGP victory ahead of the likes of Johann Zarco. Ahead of the likes of Pecco Bagnaia as well. He's got a face full of Prosecco there. I don't think he will mind too much. Gigi Dall'Igna and Paolo Campinotti looking on. They've got a very close relationship, and I'm sure Gigi Dall'Igna thinking it wasn't a bad pick to get Jorge Martin on the GP21, was it?
No, they've done a very, very good job. The inquest will begin regarding Pecco Bagnaia, of course, 11th after the penalty.
It's going to be close to some kind of record for the youngest ever MotoGP podium as well, hasn't it? Surely.
Should be really close. Yeah, really, really close.
The new breeder here. Valentino Rossi will bow out at the age of 42 at the end of the season. Cal Crutchlow retired, Danny Pedrosa retired a couple of years ago, Andrea Dovizioso finding it hard to get himself back on the MotoGP grid. Danilo Petrucci doesn't like he's got a MotoGP